you're watching this video, it means you're probably looking for an answer for why your DM setting team isn't performing as well as you believe it could or should. And I'm gonna break down exactly why that happens and how to fix it in a couple of very easy steps. Now, if you don't know me yet, my name is George Nita. I run DMsetting.com. We're the largest DM setting staffing and management firm in the entire info coaching industry. We've generated over $50 million the past 3 years, specifically through DM setters. We have the biggest data pool and the biggest talent pool of DM setters right now. If you want to see some of the clients that we're working with, you can head over to the website. You can take a quick scroll through that, but some of the names include Jeremy Miner, Matt Gray, Dr. Pompa, Alex Fedotov, Russell Parashiv, Paul Hilsey, and many other 7-figure, multiple 8-figure companies that we've had the privilege and the opportunity to build those DM setting teams for. So I'm just going to pull out my Milo board here on the screen, and I'm just going to show you exactly how to fix this and what's causing it. Okay, so where a lot of you guys are going wrong is you're taking the same principles that you've learned with phone setting and you're trying to apply it to DM setting. Well, it doesn't work that way because those are two very different things. And this is probably why if your DM setting team is underperforming right now, it's probably because you take the same phone setting principles and you try and apply them to the DM setting team. And of course it doesn't work because it's two different things. But like, oh yeah, it's appointment setting. I'm just going to do what works with phone setting. I'm going to try and do it in the DM and I'm going to hope and pray it works. And then it doesn't. And they have like a 3%, 4% lead to call booking ratio. And they're like, what's going on? This is supposed to be the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. What's not working? The thing with phone setting that you need to realize in this case is you can have a person for like 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time on a conversation on the phone, and your phone setters are going to be able to just ask that person a million questions because once you have someone on the phone, it's so much more easier to like ask continuous questions to that person and just you can piggyback off of certain questions. You can go into like nuances of, certain aspects of that person's life. And you can go, significantly deeper with, what they do for work, even sometimes their family life over a phone conversation. Obviously, you have a much easier time financially qualifying them because you have the person already there. It's much harder for the person at the other end, for your lead, to actually hang up the phone and just completely stop talking to you or your rep for that matter, than it is in a DM conversation for the lead to just ghost you and to just not open your DM, right? Because on a phone setting, they're already there. They're already talking to you, remember? Right? So as I said, I don't want to repeat myself too much. It's much easier to ask a lot of questions. So in a phone setting script, when you have a phone setting script, you're going to have, a bunch of different things that you want to take someone through. And especially, if you're used to like the phone setting dynamic, you're going to want to have a long conversation with that person because you're going to feel like that, warm up the lead, make that lead want to book and trust you and so on and so forth. And when you take that same philosophy and try and apply it to DM setting, it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because unlike phone setting, DM setting is a downwards ladder and it kind of looks something like this. And this ladder right here, I want you to think of the DM process as this ladder, and every single step of this like staircase of this ladder is you asking a question to your lead. What's going to happen with every single step is you're going to have drop off. You're going to start off with 1,000 leads or 100 leads, and every question you ask after that, regardless whether it's a good question, a bad question, it's a question that you should be asking or shouldn't be asking, you're going to get people that drop off because this is the nature of DM setting. This is how it works. You're going to get a lot of people that engage on the front end, and then progressively as you advance through your DM setting process and your framework, you can get less and less people that actually make it to the end. Unlike phone setting, where all you gotta do is like you just have a huge pool of people that you gotta constantly ring up, and then sometimes you get a person that responds, then you have a very linear conversation typically with them, and then you turn them into a call proposal because this takes 10 minutes. So you can ask like 50 different questions and you have the luxury. You don't have that same luxury in DM setting, right? This is where people go wrong, is they try and take this process, and not necessarily this process, but like this way of thinking and apply it to DM. And it doesn't work because here's the thing. With DM, if you take this same line of thinking, you're gonna start off with like 100 people, then you're going to drop off to 80, then you're going to drop off to 60, because why is that? People are unqualified, people ghost, people lose interest, people find another coach, they buy another program, something happens in their life, like there's a million different things. So you're going to go from 100 to 80 to 60, 40, down to like 20, down to 15, down to 10, and then you just booked 5 people in. Why the hell is my like conversation or lead to call booking ratio 5%? Well, this is why, because look at how many drop-off points here. Like look at how many steps you have here that someone needs to go through in your DMs for them to even be able to book a call. That's not how you want to do it. Now, on the flip side, you might be asking, well, George, if I just go in my DM process and I remove a bunch of steps, like how am I going to qualify people? How am I going to build rapport? How am I going to nurture people in conversations and just build trust? Like am I not going to need to triage your data and I'm going to see the same drop off if I get a phone setter to qualify the leads after we book them from DM? My question to you is no, because this is where nuance comes into play. And this is what makes a DM process really fucking good. So you have a really freaking good DM process in place when you're able to ask the least amount of questions, but to get absolutely everything you need from your prospect. What that means is you want to get their current situation, you want to get their desired situation, you want to get their motivation, and then you want to get their financial qualifiers, right, to make sure they're financially qualified. Then you want to do your call proposal and then your call booking. The less steps you can have in your DM process to go through this entire thing, the better it's going to be. And then after you got a call booking, you can take them to like a million different things. It doesn't even matter at that point because you already got the call. If you want to do nurturing, and if you want to do rapport building, and if you want to do trust, like sure, you can do it after you get the booking, but prior to you getting the booking, you need to approach this in a ruthless, like efficiency driven way. So to put it into perspective to you guys, there's like two main metrics that we track when we're looking at DM departments, when we work with DM teams, when we're trying to optimize DM departments. So the first one is the conversation to call proposal, right? So this is conversation to CPP, call proposal ratio. So that's the first metric that we track, which means out of all the conversations that I'm getting, how many of them are actually turning into a call proposal? How many of them am I inviting into a call? And then the second one is call proposal to, you guessed it, call booking ratios. Like out of the call proposals that I'm making, how many people are actually booking in? Because this tells me two things. Number one, how efficient my call proposal is, how good, like how appealing my call proposal actually is. Then number two, how efficient my booking process is, because I might have the best call proposal on the planet, but if I don't have slots on the calendar, no one's gonna fucking book in, right? So those are the two main metrics that we track. Now, to not go off on a tangent here, what you might typically see when you have like a super long DM process, and like I've seen this, you know, like this is why I have a company, people have those problems and they come to us to fix it. But when you have a super long DM process, you might only see that you get those 100 leads, or conversation to call proposal ratio is like something like 8%, and then you get about like, you know, 60% of the people actually booking in if you're lucky, and if you actually have a good link and a good questionnaire and a good type form and all those different things. If you do the maths on that, you get like 1,000 people. So 1,000 new leads that come in, you do 80 call proposals, and then, you know, you book 60 of them in, so you got yourself 48 calls booked, which you might look at this, you might be like, what the fuck? Like I got 1,000 people. It's like, how am I only getting 48 calls booked? There's something seriously broken in the process. And yes, it is. This is what's broken. You're asking a million goddamn questions, and you're not being efficient and smart in the way in which you're asking those questions. What you want to do is you want to figure out a way, like, how can I get everything I need in the conversation, which is current situation, desired situation, financial qualifiers, like all those different things, in the shortest amount of like questions possible. And what's going to happen for context, guys, like our KPI for conversation to call proposal is 25%. Our KPI for call proposal to call booking is 70+%, sometimes in the high 70s or even low 80s. Look at what happens here, because it's going to be super interesting. You get the same 1,000 new leads, but now you have an efficient DM process in place because you're not using the phone setting mentality or the phone setting thought process. And now, instead of proposing only 80 calls, you propose about 250. Now it's more like it. And then you book 70% of those people in. So that's 175 bookings. Calls booked. So you went from 48 to 175. You're like more than 3x to your output just by being smart with your questioning. It's like, sure, are more people here going to be like slightly, you know, less qualified and less ready by? Sure. It's like you're going to go from a 28% close rate to like a 23.5. We're going to get 3 times the volume of calls. What do you think is going to happen? Are you going to make more money or not? You're probably going to make significantly more money in that case. To wrap it up, it's all about efficiency. Don't treat this as a phone setting funnel, because it isn't. It's a DM setting funnel. So it has its own nuances and its own little like key things they want to look at and they want to implement, that you want to get dialed in for your companies, especially if you're trying to scale, you know, to like 200, 300, 400, even $500,000 a month with DM setting. This is what you need to be. You need to be ruthless with the way in which you create efficiency in your DM setting process. So that being said, appreciate you sticking to the end. Drop me a comment, drop me a like, drop me a sub if this was valuable, if you want more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.